You're listening to the Business Mike podcast. Amazing interviews with entrepreneurs and industry thought leaders.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business Mike podcast 2026. I'm excited to have a fantastic guest with me, Mr. Kpunsa. Mr. Kpunsa, can you just introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Thank you so much, Daudi, for inviting me to this wonderful platform. I am Kpunsa Mbinkar, and I am Forum Director of the Africa Customer Experience Leaders Forum. I'm a customer experience passionate, and I'm one of those people who are putting in their topmost best to ensure that we transform the customer experience ecosystem in Africa. Thank you once more for inviting me.
Fantastic. One of the questions I like asking my guests is how they got into customer experience. So maybe you can just tell us where you're located, where you're based, and how you got into this field.
Thank you so much. Where I'm located is always a tricky question because I'm always between Cameroon, Rwanda, and Germany. How did I get into this field? It's also a very interesting question. I personally was never someone who sat one day and said I was going to be a customer experience professional. I didn't even know what customer experience professional meant. So when I went to school, I studied business management, and when I graduated, I had the opportunity to work at a bank, a Pan-African bank. And when I got into the bank, I was supposed to be a front desk customer service professional. And my duty was receiving these clients, listening to them, resolving their issues. And I was like, wow, there is something to this. I was the kind of person who will go beyond the call of duty to assist the client and to solve their problem. And then I saw how very simple things you did could have a tremendous impact on a client. Then I started asking myself the questions, how come something so important as customer experience, which is so paramount to business success, was never taught to me in school? I did business studies. I should have expected to learn that in school. Then I started asking myself, that was in Cameroon, how many other young professionals would want to do this and they don't have the possibility to learn about it? After 3 years in the bank, I said it was time to move out of the bank and start a customer experience practice and start promoting and start training and start giving people knowledge in the domain of customer experience. And that is how we ended here today. 10 years, we fast forward that story 10 years forward. Here we are out of Cameroon, driving the CX transformation across Africa.
Right. Now, of course, you like you've said, you've traveled across Africa and you've had a chance to experience CX specifically on this continent. I'd just like to hear your thoughts on how CX would vary on the continent, say maybe with what we are used to hearing from Europe or in the US. What are some of those nuances that are unique, particularly to the continent, that you have personally experienced?
I will tell you something, Daudi. I had a conversation with a very senior customer experience executive from South Africa today, and I told her Africa is known for a lot of resources, lots of resources, from petroleum resources to all the other minerals. But there is one resource that every single African country has: hospitality. Hospitality runs in our DNA. In short, as Africans, we are supposed to be exporting our number one product is customer experience. CX in Africa occurs naturally. You don't need to walk a person to know how to be hospitable. We are hospitable by our very nature. And that is the difference with CX in Africa and CX in many parts of the world. In many parts of the world, people learn to accommodate others. People learn to give a fair chance how to treat people. In Africa, we don't do that. In Africa, I keep saying this, when you come to a person and you say, I need directives on how to get to this place, he's not going to describe it. He's going to take you there. And when he reaches there, he's going to sit down with you and he's going to be sure you're comfortable before he moves away. And that is the African customer experience, deeply rooted in a high spirit of hospitality. And that is a power we have, which I think we are not tapping it enough, which I think we are not exporting it enough, and which I think we need to give it a little bit more focus. CX in Africa is warmth. CX in Africa is love. CX in Africa is genuine, it's deep. And that is something every single day I pray that we can harness it better and we can export it in in each of our 54 African countries.
Yeah, well, that begs the question. I agree with everything you've said, and I think it goes to the heart of what we're trying to achieve with the Africa Leaders Forum, and that is, why can't that hospitality, that CX, be translated to the corporate space? It seems to be more in the social space, so the social fabric, so to speak, and it hasn't yet penetrated the professional setting, for a lack of a better word, because Africa, as you know, has some of the worst professional customer experience, if I can call it that. And it's an oxymoron when you look at it from that point of view.
Yeah, I think the solution to that is something that we are already doing, Daudi. When we sat and we looked at the continent, we asked ourselves, why is it that some countries have a very high level of maturity in customer experience and others are just so far behind? Daudi, as we talk today, we have 54 African countries, but just 9 of those countries have a structured body governing the customer experience profession. And that has a direct impact on how professionals play in the customer experience space. In corporations, they don't have a reference point. They don't have that point you look at as, this is the good. And how can we consistently ensure that the minimum is not below these points that we set in every company? And that is what we have been trying to do as an African customer experience community. We have been inviting leaders from all the parts of Africa to come together. Leave your logo beside, whether you are from this bank or from this insurance company or from this telco. Leave your logo behind. Come on as professionals, Africans, driving the CX narrative. Let us reflect. What are the problems of CX on the continent? What can we do about it? And what can we do now to change that narrative? And so I will tell you, yes, there are still lots of discrepancies around how CX is practiced in different organizations, in different corporations, but there could be a solution, creating a reference point. And that is a little what the Africa Customer Experience Leaders community is doing to bridge that gap and to ensure that whether you are in Benin or in Cote d'Ivoire or in Egypt or in Burkina Faso or in South Africa, we can look up to one source of truth, a common standard for Africa, a CX reference point that every corporation can reference themselves to, that every professional can reference themselves to. Look at the continent. We have accounting bodies. We have engineers bodies. We have doctors, medical doctors. They have all bodies, project management professionals. They have structures. They have systems on how the profession can be practiced. If we don't have references, then it's but normal that corporations will keep fluctuating in the quality of service that they're offering. And that is the solution and the gap that we are trying to solve at this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said. And that nicely puts us into a conversation about the Africa CX Leaders Forum that you mentioned that took place last year in September. Now, I'm sure quite a number of people, especially on LinkedIn, maybe they saw a little bit of photos and some videos about what happened at the conference. But can you just take us behind the curtain? Just help us appreciate how it was put together and what the objective was within those 2 days. What was the metric, or what were you looking to achieve, having had all those people come together for those 2 days?
Thank you so much, Daudi. You know, there are some events you participate in and then they just stick in your brain, you know? There are some events that happen in your life and it keeps playing over and over. The 2025 Africa Customer Experience Leaders Forum was one of those events. It was one of those times you sit in a meeting and you have goose pimple all over your body and you feel, is this it? Is this us? Is this what we're doing for our continent? There was a problem. When we looked across the continent, we found sporadic leaders driving the CX narrative in different countries. Same country, different people, struggling. We saw some people who had matured the CX practice. I'll give a good example is Kenya. Kenya is one of those countries that has really matured CX as a practice in the African ecosystem. But then you have many other countries that don't even have any reference point and nothing. And so those heavy discrepancies, when we started looking and we started asking ourselves questions, can we make it possible for these people who are doing a great job to inspire the other ones? When we looked at the corporate world, we saw great CX professionals, 30 years of experience, leading CX in multinational corporations. These people are retiring. And the question is, have they inspired the next generation to take out after them? So we figured out, how can we solve this problem? We brought together 3 groups of people. The first group was consultants, people who are having CX practices across the continent. We invited them. Please come down to Kigali. We invited the national CX associations, Egypt, Uganda, Kenya, Angola, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Cameroon. We invited all of these national CX bodies and we said, let us come together and let us reflect. Which are those things I'm doing well, which my brother could learn from? And which are those areas I'm struggling from, which my brother could learn from? We invited the CX leaders, those driving CX in the multinationals, the big brands in Africa. Come and let us sit and discuss. Some things and those areas where you are doing very well could be areas where other people are struggling. These 3 group of people, we planned a date. We said, we want to do a transformation. But until we have a date, there is no wedding. Until we have a date, there is no wedding. So we set a date for that wedding. It was in Kigali. And then we started reflecting. Is it going to be another conference? Another set of keynotes? Another set of picture taking? And then we go home nothing? 6 months before that event, we created 6 commissions to identify 6 of the continent's biggest customer experience issues, brainstorm and find solutions, come to Kigali and tell us this is the problem, this is the solution, and this is how we can move forward to resolve it as a continent. It was beautiful, Daudi, because for the first time, leaders who had never seen face-to-face, people who were competing brands, they came together and we spoke one story, the African customer experience story. We listened to the problems. We proposed the solutions. We sat together and we said, we must approach this as a continent. And the mandate was given to us, the organizers. We must take it a little bit further. We must get more associations. We must get more commissions working on different areas. The purpose of the gathering in Kigali was not some other CX narrative. It was, can we transform the customer experience practice in our continent? The leaders came and they answered with a big, yes, we can. Yes, we can drop our corporate identities and stand as a continent. Yes, we can drop the competition between brands and bring our strong points and together harness what we do best and use it for the betterment of the continent. And when the leaders met, it was an impactful event because it was emotional, it was strong, it was powerful. And when we left from there, we said, we are definitely coming back. And there were lots of things we said, when we are coming back 12 months from today, we should not come again to talk about the same things we're talking about now. We should come to discuss different things. And I will cite here, what are some of these commissions we created? What are some of these problems we're trying to solve? The first one is, every week we have the customer service week. This one is doing this, this one is doing that. Who are we Africans? We know, Daudi, in Uganda, when we have a high-level festival, what do we see? We see the tradition. We see the masquerades. They come out. That is our identity. How do we celebrate the Customer Service Week? I believe that the Customer Service Week should be one of those big events in Africa where we see the masquerades come out and where everyone comes out and is singing and dancing, and we're asking, what are we celebrating? We are celebrating the value the customer is giving to the different organizations. The organizations are saying thank you. We're celebrating those people at the front office who take the insults, who take everything. So these commissions were tackling different problems. Some were tackling the Customer Service Week. Some were tackling citizen experience, which is a big issue in Africa. Some were tackling small and medium-sized enterprises. How can we adopt customer experience for small enterprises? Do we need a budget? Must we have big VOC tools? How can we succeed in CX with the small organizations? Some were tackling the issue of research. Do we know the African consumer? For how long shall we depend on data coming from Europe, from the US, simulating data from the US, from Europe to make decisions on the African consumer? It doesn't work. And so, how can we listen, capture, analyze, and understand the African consumer? And how can we make CX decisions based on the understanding of the African consumer? So you see, these were different commissions. One of these commissions was, how can we create more associations? How can we get more professional bodies across CX, across the board? And each commission came up with a beautiful solution, and that was what Kigali 2025 CX event was all about. It was beautiful, it was colored, it was all about culture, and it was also about impact. And the leaders came prepared, and they also left with very strong resolutions for us to work for another 12 months.
Yeah, absolutely. I was there, and I must say that is hands down the most impactful conference I've attended, and at the same time the most intimate, because the numbers were just enough for everybody to at least get 5 or 10 minutes with every other person in the room. And the organization, I must say, was top notch. And above all, like you said, the discussions in the room were so good that I believe people complained that 2 days were not enough. And I believe that the one this year is going to be 3 days, not 2 days, because there was just so much value that couldn't be packed in one day. And people had to be pulled out of the conference room. I recall I was one of the MPs on the stage, and we literally had to kick them out. They didn't want to leave. That's how exciting it was on that day. So just give us a snippet about this upcoming one, building on from the 2025 version that you just mentioned.
Yeah, honestly, I really remember We had friends from South Africa who asked me, Kpunsa, how do you do it? How? We've exceeded the time and the people are just seated there. No one is moving. How do you do it? And I told them, the issues we are discussing are pertinent. And it's touching the people in the hearts. The value they're getting is unmeasurable. And so, how is 2026? If 2025 was at 5, I would tell you 2026 is going to be at 30. That is how big the leap is going to be. What are we doing now? When we left the forum last September, the leaders gave us the mission to solve the problems, to put some structure. There are a couple of actions that we started carrying, and this will explain how 2026 is going to look like. The first thing is, we constituted and created the Federation of Customer Experience Associations, which means that supreme body that sits on top of all CX associations, harmonizes the practice, pushes and encourages different countries to create their CX organizations, and then we have that one umbrella, that strong organ that is capable of pushing a common narrative across the continent. That's the first fallout of that event. The first thing that we're achieving out of that event. The second thing which we are doing is, Africa has 54 states. Let's just say 54 states. In each state, we are identifying 2 champions, 2 country champions. These 2 country champions become ambassadors of customer experience in those countries. In some countries, there are already CX associations. These champions now serve as a bridge between the associations and the Africa CX leaders community. In countries where there are no associations, these champions now have the flag to go down in the field, recruit the people, create a local association, and create the local impact. And then they serve now as a bridge. The bridge between what is happening at the level of all the brainstorming, the decision, the solutions, the blueprints. They collect them from the forums and they bring it down to the country. And what else do? They take insights from the country. What are the realities? What are the challenges? And they take it up to the forum. And then the commissions brainstorm on them and try to find solutions. A very powerful network. 54 countries. 2 people in each country. Customer experience and citizen experience champions. It is the biggest network of professionals that has been built on the continent. Put together, stick together towards one goal, raising the bars. We created 2 more commissions. The first commission was on AI and technology. There's a lot of buzz around AI. But how are we going to adopt AI in a way that it makes sense to our continent? There's a whole commission reflecting on that topic. And there is another commission, a beautiful commission, whose work is to develop a common CX standard for Africa. That is big, Daudi. Think about it. Every single one in Africa can look up to one source of truth as to what is it that defines a CX practice. This commission is to create these standards, which will become the authoritative source of truth on how we practice CX on the continent. This, again, will transform how we do CX in government, how we do CX in corporations. And the goal is, when I land in an airport in Accra, or in Benin, or in Douala, or in Lagos, the standard should be all high, because we have one source of truth, which is a source of excellence, which is tailored to the realities of our continent. Another beautiful thing we did, which the Commission on AI and Technology is supporting, is we started reflecting. We have great brains, we have great minds, great authors, a lot of use cases across the continent. How can we enable that young student who just graduated from the university and wants to take a career in customer experience to have all they need to succeed in that career? So we created what we call the Africa Customer Experience Knowledge Base, powered by science technology. And what is this? We're calling on leaders. All that books, all those books you've written, all that knowledge, all those blueprints, any information you think can impact the way we practice CX, put it here, and then everyone else can access it. Think about it. 1,000 leaders across the continent sharing their best practices in one source of knowledge. The honest truth is, no continent is capable of pulling this up. Africa is capable of. We are ready. We are capable. And we want to unite ourselves as one strong body and transform the way we do CX. So how will 2026 look? 3 main things. First, we will start with a strategic retreat. One day where the top brains in charge of CX transformation will sit down and reflect the strategies they hope to put in place the next year. Work with top institutions and harness their strategies and make sure that it's going to work for the corporations. Then we have the forum where we will come again together, listen to the reports from the commissions, look at what is transforming CX now in the industries, in the different countries, and what we need to be doing. And again, we have the Citizen Experience Conference. 1 full day just for the topic citizen experience. We're inviting public sector stakeholders from across the continent to come together and let us reflect. Can we put the citizen at the center of our economic and political agenda? And can we improve the way we serve customers in public offices so that they can once again trust the governments? I was talking with a leader today who said, do you know that CX is directly linked even to poverty? It's directly linked even to health issues. And the truth is, if our governments can guarantee us great experience with public services, we trust the government. And when we trust the government, what happens? Economic policy can work because we trust that the policies they are putting in place are for our benefit. So that is how 2026 is going to look like.
Well, I can't wait. And for anyone wondering, where will this be held? And is there a date set?
Yes. The strategic retreat for the directors of CX, 15th of September. Then we have the 16th, the 17th, and the 18th of September, 3 days for the Customer Experience Forum and also for the Citizen Experience Conference. And all of this will be taking place in Kigali, Rwanda.
Kigali, Rwanda. All right, that's what I was looking for. Thank you so much. And what is your call to action? If there's anyone watching this podcast, listening to this podcast, and maybe they're a CX practitioner in Africa, perhaps they're in a country which has an association, or maybe they're in a country that doesn't have an association, what would your call to action for that person be?
I will tell them Africa is calling. And I will tell them they need to get up. They need to pick up their tools and they need to come to the field and let us transform our continent. We have a whole continent to build and no one is going to do it alone. Leaders across the board from Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt, South Africa, we have powerful professionals, strong leaders, people who are transforming the CX practice where they are. We are calling on them. Come and let us build our continent. We are raising the CX standards and we are raising it now. Africa is calling. And tomorrow, we will look at ourselves and we will be proud that we made it. We will be proud that we gave ourselves, we gave our continent an opportunity to be a better place. There is a strong CX transformation that is happening, and we're calling on all leaders, join the movement. We have created a digital community where everyone is coming in. They're bringing their expertise. They're bringing in their best cases, their use cases, and together we will raise the standards of the CX practice. And I will tell you, Daudi, again, we will export customer experience. The first product every single African country will export from 2027 will be experiences, because that is written right in our DNA. It occurs to us naturally. And for once, we will be good at the game we were born to play. Legendary service, great experiences in public and private sector, and I'm challenging every professional. Rise up, join the movement, and together, let us tell the CX story. Tomorrow, history is going to hold us accountable for the role we played in the transformation that the continent is seeing now.
Right. Very well put. So if anyone wants to follow any updates, maybe on the venue or any ticket sales, is there anywhere they can follow, any platforms online that they can go to and get updates?
I would just tell them, go online and check Africa CX Leaders Forum, and you would get the website, or on LinkedIn, join the community, follow them on the website, and you have all the information. We are out for one thing: empowering the continent and transforming the CX ecosystem. And we believe that everyone has the possibility to join and everyone has a place in it. So please go online, find CX Leaders Forum. You will get the resources on our web pages or on our LinkedIn page.
Right, fantastic. Well, Kpunsa, it's always a pleasure to chat with you, and I'm looking forward to meeting up once again physically in Kigali this year, September. Thank you so much for all your efforts, and thank you to everybody watching and listening that has played an active role in building CX on the continent. Whether you're African or not, all help is welcome. So thank you, Kpunsa, and we look forward to catching up once again.
Thank you so much, Daudi, and I really appreciate the work you're doing, bringing business leaders across the world to talk and to impact the different communities. Thank you so much, Daudi. We are very proud of the work you're doing. Thank you so much.
Good morning, CX leaders. So delighted to have you here this morning. Are we going to make today more epic than yesterday? What do you think? The little program that I'm going to do this morning is approved by the CXPA and the Education Alliance in Finland.
First of all, I want to thank all of us who made it here today. Secondly, the leaders have met, we have concerted, and we are proud to inform you that we are meeting again in Kigali next year, September 16th to 18th of September. And this time it would be bigger, stronger, and Africa united more than ever before. We are committing that the 6 commissions that have been working on research, on education, on CX for SMEs, that have been working on the Customer Experience Week, will continue working, and we are creating 2 more commissions to cater for technology and innovation, and to cater as well for CX standards for Africa. We want that your last memory of this event and of Kigali should be a smiley in your brain. So please
network, have a drink, please have a drink. We eat something, we listen to music, we appreciate the culture. We wish you safe skies and see you in 2026.